Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Would You Rather. I'm your host, Michael Raffone. My friends call me Mike. And today we've got a game of this or that and two choosy contestants who are gonna do all the picking. Introducing first, we've got celebrating her 17th semester at Cape Girardeau Community College, Tandy.
Hello.
And her opponent today, Abby. Okay, Tandy, you'll go first.
What's up?
Would you rather be able to create a brand new holiday or a completely new language?
Easy holiday. I need more days other than my birthday. Hashtag Tans Day. Tans a day.
Tans a day. That sounds like a week-long celebration.
Year long.
All right, Abby, you're up. Would you rather live in a world without pizza or without French fries?
A world without French fries. I eat pizza every day. Every single day.
A world without French fries. I couldn't imagine. Tandy, back to you. Would you rather live 100 years in the past or 100 years in the future?
Ooh. Future.
100 years in the future. How old will you be in 100 years? Don't answer that. Abby, would you rather be too hot or too cold?
Ooh.
Too cold. You can always put more on.
Yeah.
You'd rather be too cold.
Yeah.
Layer up.
Tandy, would you rather be the fastest person in the world or be able to freeze time?
Freeze time.
You'd be able to freeze time.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Good answer. Great answer. Abby, would you rather take a big bite out of an onion or a big bite out of a lemon?
Like Shrek.
Lemon.
You'd rather take a big bite out of a lemon.
Yes.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Well, that's good to know, because Abby, got a lemon for you.
Thank God.
Enjoy.
Oh, no way.
How's it taste?
Lemony. Do I have to swallow it?
We'll let you at home decide. Tandy,
What's that?
would you rather wear a clown wig or a clown nose for the rest of this game?
Beep, beep. Clown nose.
Clown nose.
Yeah.
I
Does it
think-
squeak?
Well, congratulations, Tandy. You get to find out for yourself. Looks great. Abby, would you rather have butterfly wings or an actual snout?
Butterfly wings.
Butterfly wings. Enjoy these.
Oh.
Wait.
Can those make her fly?
There's only one way to find out. Abby, you know what would look great with those butterfly wings? A pig snout. Go ahead and throw this bad boy on too, because here at Would You Rather, we over-deliver. Or my name's not
doesn't
Michael
fit.
Raffone. Fantastic, Tandy. Here's one for you. Would you rather moo like a cow after every sentence or bark like a dog after every sentence?
Bark like a dog after every sentence.
I like your style.
Thank you.
Well, ladies, this has been an invigorating contest so far. Great choices all the way around, as you can see at home as well. And now it's time for the final choice. Would you rather eat a piece of cake covered in mustard or eat a hot dog covered in chocolate sauce?
A hot dog with chocolate sauce.
Hot dog covered in chocolate sauce. Well,
Oh, let me guess. You haven't.
here it is. And because we over-deliver here on Would You Rather, you get two to enjoy.
That's disgusting.
I have to eat it. Oh,
Tandy, how you doing over there?
I'm cracking up.
Guess what you get? Yeah, that's right. You get a piece of cake covered in mustard.
I don't.
Oh, it's
I don't
rainbow
know if
cake.
it's-
Enjoy.
Did you have to put this much mustard on it?
Let's try some of that cake with mustard. Have a bite. Tell us how it tastes.
Now I kind of wish I put that.
That's enough.
Great round of final choice. But guess
Was
what?
it?
There's a final choice, and
Oh my
Tandy, you get
God.
to go first. Here's your final choice. Would you rather eat broccoli-flavored ice cream or bacon-covered cookies?
Why does the first thing exist? Broccoli flavored ice cream or a bacon covered cookie?
I As you can see, tensions are high.
Bacon covered cookie.
Lucky for you, we have some.
Oh, they got little soft ones. See, I love me some bacon. Okay.
Now, Abby, let me ask you this. Do you think she made the right choice?
Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear because we've got the choice she didn't pick for you.
Yeah, I thought so.
Your very own broccoli sundae.
Oh my god.
That's
Complete with fresh ice cream,
disgusting.
fresh broccoli, and your own spoon.
That's really gross.
Enjoy.
I don't like broccoli or anything green.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I can sum up this episode of Would You Rather in one word. Gross. I'm Michael Raffone, and we'll see you next time. Till then, make good choices.
Want a bite?
No.
You may think you'd know exactly what you'd do when faced with a big decision. Or maybe you'd just wing it. But there was one guy in the Bible who knew what he would do and had to put his decision to the test. Check out this story.
God's story, Daniel. So part of God's story is about a guy named Daniel, and it goes like this. Daniel was a Jew, which means he was part of God's special family. But when he was a young man, a king called Nebuchadnezzar, let's call him Nezzar, came in from the city of Babylon and took over. He chose the smartest, strongest, most handsome Jewish men to leave their home and come work for him in his palace. One of those young men was Daniel. Even though most people in Babylon didn't follow God, Daniel and his friends did. So they had to figure out how to obey God and serve the king. For starters, they had to go through a training program where they were fed royal food. The problem was, King Nezzar had also offered that food to idols or false gods. And since they followed God, they wanted nothing to do with idols. So, Daniel had an idea. He asked the chief of the king's staff if he and his friends could eat vegetables and water for 10 days instead. If they got too weak or skinny, they'd eat something else. Well, guess what? God made them even stronger than the men who ate royal food. God gave Daniel extra understanding, too. In fact, a few years later, the king had a nightmare. Nobody knew what it meant. Daniel told King Nezzar that he would ask God to show him. God did. After that, King Nezzar adored Daniel. He even said God was pretty great, which was a big deal, because the king didn't even think about God before that. But soon, he made it hard for Daniel to follow God again. That's because the king built a huge gold statue of himself, 90 feet tall. Anybody who didn't bow down to it would be thrown into a furnace. This time, Daniel's friends were the ones in trouble. Their names were Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They told the king, "The God whom we serve is able to save us. But even if he doesn't, we will never worship the gold statue you've set up." So they got sent into the fire. Well, pretty soon the king looked into the furnace and noticed that there were 4 men, and they were walking around. An angel of the Lord was protecting Daniel's friends. They got out alive and didn't even smell like smoke. God didn't stop them from getting punished, but he did go through it with them. The king had never seen a God who would rescue like that. Afterwards, King Nezzar didn't mind if Daniel and his friends worshipped God, but the king still worshipped idols too. So God sent him another dream, and Daniel told him what it meant. King Nezzar would live in a field and eat grass like a cow for 7 years. In other words, he'd go crazy until he realized that God is the only one we should worship. Kids, God doesn't want everybody to worship whoever they want. He wants everybody to worship him. Anyway, Daniel kept working for other kings of Babylon, even after King Nezzar. God continued to help him understand dreams and visions. And even though he had to give a lot of bad news, Daniel did excellent work, and he was really well liked by the kings. In fact, one king named Darius liked Daniel so much that others got jealous. They tried to get Daniel in trouble. But they knew the only way to do that was to make a law against God. They suggested that everybody pray only to King Darius. That made the king feel important, so he made it a law. Anybody who disobeyed would spend the night in a den of lions. Daniel kept right on praying, though, and when King Darius found out, he was sad. He didn't want to punish Daniel, but now it was the law. He said, "May your God whom you serve faithfully rescue you." And guess what? God did! He sent an angel to shut the lions' mouths. Daniel served 4 important kings, and he followed God. But whenever it came down to obeying God or the king, Daniel chose God every time, no matter what. And even though Daniel had to do some really hard things, God was always with him. And that's the story of Daniel. So in case you missed it, here's the quick version. Daniel was taken to Babylon. He asked for vegetables. God made him strong. God gave Daniel understanding. Daniel's friends obeyed God instead of the king. They got punished. God rescued them. Daniel understood more dreams. He was the king's favorite. Others got jealous. Daniel obeyed God instead of the king. He got punished. God rescued him. Daniel served God no matter what. And that's a part of God's story.
Daniel sure had to make some big decisions. Well, actually, he made one really big decision that affected a lot of his other decisions. He decided he would worship God and only God. When other people around him were bowing down to golden statues and worshiping other gods, Daniel didn't. He stuck to his decision that he would only worship God. And it's important to remember that even though Daniel made the right decision to worship God, it didn't keep him from dealing with really hard things, like being thrown into a den of lions. And Daniel wasn't the only one making hard decisions. Remember his friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? They were thrown into a furnace just because they wouldn't bow down to the king's statue. They would only worship God. And even though worshiping God is a great decision, they still had to go through something really hard. But God was with them. Now, there are some details in the story that are just too wild for me to comprehend. So let's talk to some experts. So you two are real firefighters. Can you tell me what's your favorite thing about being a firefighter?
For me, it's the brotherhood and having a second family.
And I love showing up for work, knowing I get to help people.
Cool. So I know a story from the Bible that involves fire. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah, go for it.
Do you mind if we get some stuff done around the firehouse while you tell us?
Sure. There were three guys, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
I've never met anybody with those names before.
These guys loved God, and so when everybody around them was bowing down to kings and statues, they wouldn't do it.
Integrity. I like it.
Totally. But then the king made a statue of himself that was 90 feet tall, and he wanted everybody to bow down and worship it.
90 feet tall, that's a huge statue, like 9 stories high.
But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego wouldn't do it. So as punishment, they were thrown into a fiery furnace.
But they had protective gear like firefighters do, right?
Nope.
But they had air tanks, right?
Like these?
Nothing. Nada. But the guys didn't even burn up. In fact, they started walking around inside the fire.
They were on fire?
But did they crawl low under the smoke like this?
Well, that's the thing. They weren't on fire.
Wait, they were in a fire, but they weren't on fire?
Yeah, the Bible says they were just walking around. And eventually, the king ordered that they be brought out, and they were totally fine.
That doesn't make sense at all. Were their clothes all burned up?
Nope, and not only that, the Bible says they didn't even smell like smoke.
That's a miracle.
It's wild, but it's true. You can read all about it in Daniel chapter 3. Those guys know a lot about fire, and they couldn't make heads or tails of that story. It doesn't make sense. It's amazing. But God can do things that are amazing, like closing the mouths of lions or saving people from a furnace. But even though God can do amazing things, it's not these miracles that make him worth following, it's who God is. He loves us so much that he's right there with us no matter what we're going through. And he knows what it's like to suffer. When Jesus was on earth, he suffered. He was hungry, he experienced pain, and even ultimately death. And whether God saves us from something hard or is with us while we suffer, he's still worthy of all our worship. Here's what Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it. But even if he does not, we want you to know that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego all made a choice, and they stuck with it no matter what. We can make that choice to follow God too. Some days it'll be really easy, and some days it'll be really hard. But no matter what, God will never leave us. He's always with us, and He's always good.